The war of words over a flag continues in Idaho's capital city. You know that popcorn eating meme meant to say, settle in, this is going to get good? Well, it's kind of like that. Two branches of the state government agreed to restrict what flags can fly on government property, and it appears the third branch may have to add their 2 cents before this battle is over. House Bill 96 went into law on April 3rd, except the law did not include any enforcement or make clear what that punishment should be should those who choose to flout the flag law. And when Boise's Mayor Lauren McLean refused to remove a pride flag from a pole on City Hall Plaza, several of Idaho's law enforcement had to admit there's nothing they can do since the law was written so poorly. But that didn't stop the state's top law enforcement official from officially and publicly admonishing the mayor for failing to comply. He sent a strongly worded letter to Mayor McLean last week, and today, Mayor McLean responded with one of her own, reiterating her stance that she and the city will continue to stand up for that segment of the Boise community and continue to fly the pride flag. But that wasn't all she said. The mayor began her letter to Attorney General Raúl Labrador by saying, when throwing around phrases like in defiance of the law, end quote, it's important to be honest with each other and the citizens we serve about the real issue here. Boise isn't acting out of defiance, to be clear, she said. We're acting out of duty to our community. House Bill 96 was brought by a legislator hostile to Boise, specifically to force the city to take down the pride flag that has flown at City Hall for nearly 10 years. And that is something confirmed by lawmakers who debated the bill this past session. In a packet given to them to try to convince them to vote in favor of House Bill 96, the only examples of flags they were shown were the pride flags flown in Boise, both at City Hall and on Harrison Boulevard. They had no issues with the Canadian flag flying outside Bonners Ferry City Hall. No one asking the border town to take that one down, which is why Mayor McLean called enforcement more of a selective approach. Mayor McLean went on to say, as uncomfortable as it is to be threatened by you, the Attorney General, for standing with and for my community, I welcome the valuable public dialogue your threats have sparked. Times like these, she said, challenge us as elected officials to decide whether it's worth keeping quiet when our deeply held values are challenged, reminding us the Constitution and our democracy are living promises that must be defended, sometimes loudly and often at a personal cost. And maybe you're wondering, did the Attorney General threaten the mayor over admitted unenforceable law? In a social media post from Monday, which we talked about then, Labrador did say he is reviewing every available civil legal option under Idaho law. He also said in his original letter to the mayor, he's encouraging lawmakers to deny tax revenues and other appropriations to the city of Boise. A move Mayor McLean today claimed really isn't about enforcement. It's more like an effort to chill constitutionally protected rights and attack the human dignity of our citizens through the threat of economic and legal punishment. She said, when the state's response is to threaten punishment of local officials by withholding resources from Idahoans, well, that crosses a constitutional line of retaliatory abuse of power. Okay, so let's go back to that personal cost part. In a second social media post this week explaining why he had no legal standing on this law, the Attorney General, Labrador, said, quote, many Idahoans are justifiably outraged, end quote, by that pride flag still flying. And Labrador encouraged people to make their voices heard directly to the mayor of Boise. Well, Mayor McLean responded to that like this. Praising outrage and encouraging people to come directly to me is taken by some of your political supporters as encouragement, even approval, of actions that put city employees, city council members, and even me and my family at risk. She said she's aware of the calls to protest outside her house, much like during the pandemic, but she believes disagreements like these should be handled through dialogue in civic spaces rather than subjecting families to intimidation and potential threats. And finally, this line kind of stood out from the rest. We believe House Bill 96 is legally defective and unenforceable as written, and plan to challenge House Bill 96 on a variety of valid legal bases. When I asked the mayor's office if this means we can expect a lawsuit over the flag law, I was told to take it at face value, the letter that is, knowing this is, quote, a dynamic and unpredictable issue. So what does the AG have to say about all this? Well, it appears the mayor and her legal team do not understand the requirements of state law, he said. They did get the letter, by the way. AG Labrador is saying she should follow the example of Parma Police Department, who complied with the law upon learning of its enactment, and we will continue to review every legal option under Idaho law. Yes, Parma did take its blue line flag down, but not immediately after the law went into effect. It was a couple of weeks or more. But Bonners Ferry, well, that Canadian flag still flies in front of City Hall. We called today, we checked, still there. And they've had no letter demanding its removal. Mayor McLean ended her letter today, hoping saying and hoping that this ends any dispute. She said, quote, "If your office intends to pursue enforcement or penalties against me for standing up for the citizens and rights I made a sacred promise to represent, I'll be at City Hall doing the work I was elected to do."